dream healing cult of Asclepius. The origins of Western medicine lie in the temples of Asclepius, pilgrimage sites for ancient Greeks in need of healing who relied on the priests, early doctors and dream workers. We visited the extraordinary Asclepion at Epidaurus, but my mind-blowing dream experience happened in Delphi. As you may know, Delphi housed the Pythia, the famous oracle at Delphi. This priestess, or sibyl, served as mouthpiece for the god Apollo. He spoke through her and offered wisdom and prophecy. During the classical period, the era that produced most of the philosophy, culture, and art that we think of when someone talks about ancient Greece, the Pythia exerted enormous influence at the highest echelons of power. The men who ran the ancient world consulted her before they started wars, established colonies, or arranged their marriages. Nobody knows exactly how the oracle did her thing. Popular theories claim she uttered howling gibberish, high on the fumes of a gaseous vent, and that the priests of Apollo then translated these ravings into prophecy. Others believe she spoke rationally and delivered her prophecies in a normal voice. It's not difficult to imagine that history might morph the image of a woman who held real power into a raving druggie who only made sense after some mansplaining from the priests of the god of reason. It also seems that over the hundreds of years that a sibyl served as oracle, her position and methods changed. Though little is known about the oracular sessions themselves, the Pythia shows up all over the literature of the time, from Plutarch to the plays. As the voice of Apollo, she perfectly embodies the direct contact the Greeks had with their gods. Early in the day, on the long road to Delphi, Eric, my spouse, turned off the main road on a whim to see a remote prehistoric cave dwelling at the top of a steep, craggy hill. As we rounded a curve of the winding switchback road, I saw something move in the distance. At first, I thought it was a cat or a goat, but it didn't move quite right for that. As we got closer, I made out the flapping of wings. Then it took off, and we both realized what we were seeing. A massive, white-tailed eagle with about an 8-foot wingspan, gripping an equally impressive snake in its talons. No doubt to avoid us, the bird took off, doing its best to keep control of the twisting, thrashing serpent. It managed to hold on, but the snake's substantial size kept the eagle weighted low to the ground. After we followed the pair from our car for a spell, the eagle, still engaged in the struggle, flapped downhill and disappeared behind a row of bushes. How's that for a symbolically rich vision? We arrived in Delphi a few hours later. The setting is visually stunning. Look uphill from the edge of town and you'll see the sanctuary sprawling across the mountainside. Even from a distance, the size of the grounds is impressive. It takes a long time for the eye to travel over the extent of it. Ruins of temples and treasuries, toppled statues and stoas, curved paths that navigate through massive marble blocks. It goes on and on. Downhill, a vast panorama unfolds. A wide, ancient riverbed stretches for miles in either direction, mostly dried enough to become land, transformed into fertile, lush terrain. In the distance, the massive mouth of the river pours into the Gulf of Corinth, glittering pale blue. We eyed the ancient site of the oracle with longing in the early evening light, but we'd planned to stay in town 2 nights to allow ourselves an entire day to explore the museum and sanctuary. We really wanted to save it. So, instead of climbing up toward the entrance, we decided to take a stroll along the road to enjoy the beauty of the place as the oncoming sunset spread its hazy light across our view. This turned out to be an excellent choice. As the temperature cooled and the misty air became tinted with rose and gold, we came upon a surprise.